You're listening to The Startup with Monique Lore, only on LA Talk Radio.
What's going on, guys? It's The Startup with Monique Lore. I'm Monique Lore. I'm in my car, trying not to drown, trying not to float away here in Southern California. It's been raining cats and dogs, but you know what? We need the water, so I'm happy it's here. But guys, I want to give you some highlights. We've got a power-packed show. Thank you to all our listeners and supporters, Michael Solberg Family Wines, Dr. Jess, Next Level Global Solutions, Iron Lace Jewels. The list goes on and on. If I've missed anyone, Bacalera Studios, everyone that's part of our journey here as The Startup. So traveling today, but I thought I'd stop by and give you guys a great show. And we have a great guest. Our first guest is author of Confidence Unleashed, Lainey DeSouza. Lainey, welcome to The Startup. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. It's a privilege.
You're welcome, and it's our privilege to have you. I'm really loving the cover of this book, and I got to tell you, girl, did you do this yourself? Because this couldn't have been AI. I feel like you had something to do with this cover.
It's actually a handstand, but they like superimposed that onto the background. But yeah, that is like a one-handed handstand.
Very impressed, and the abs are exceptional. Guys, author of Confidence Unleashed, Lainey DeSouza is joining us now from a sunny Florida, unlike here in California. So great to meet you in person. Been skimming your book. A lot of your titles really jumped at me, really fed my spirit as a woman entrepreneur, and I really loved where you were going with this book. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us who you are?
Right. My name is Lainey DeSouza, and I grew up in Hong Kong, and then I moved to New York City when I was after I graduated. And I was like wanting to be an actress, actually. And I went on a few tours with a theater company. But then when I came back, I wanted to be grounded and wanted a job that that I wasn't always on tour with, that I had to quit restaurants. So then I became a personal trainer. And that was kind of like changed the trajectory of my life. But I always played sport at school and kind of missed Olympic trials. So that was a whole story in itself, being an athlete. But working out for me was like a saving grace. In fact, like, you know, training is very different from working out. And whenever training kind of failed me, or the end result of training, I kind of always felt back on working out, which was very grounding for me. And I believe that we all need something grounding that grounds us in our life, and learning to do things that make us happy is super important, and things that make us feel grounded.
Yes, very well. Good opening there. And I really love that you're highlighting that kind of followed you through your travels and your transitions, and it was kind of bringing you back to one. Your book explores the theme of self-confidence and finding oneself, and just, you know, kind of self-esteem and all of those things. Can you go full screen, Sam? Lainey, why don't you highlight some themes in your life and how you got on the road of self-esteem and self-confidence?
Yeah, so when I was little, I always felt very like overwhelmed and kind of nervous, and I always felt like I wanted this protection from someone. And as I grew up, I did feel like I had sports, and I used to kind of bury myself in sport and training. And I do think like sometimes when the pressure was on in sports, where I had to like shoot the goal and it was all on me, and I would be like, come on, you got this. And I would hear this little voice in my head that said, you got this. And as I grew up and the older I got, that voice kind of became like barely audible and kind of like a whisper, but it was always there. And it was kind of like that confidence little whisper, that intuition, that guide that I believe that we all have. And I think as we get older, it kind of, unless we're in tune with it, or we kind of cultivate it, it gets a little bit quieter. But for me, confidence is like a blend of inner knowing and outer action. And what I mean about that, it's like tapping into that gut feeling, that thing that has your back, and it reminds you that something bigger than yourself. And it's that small, quiet voice whispering that you are meant for more, or you got this. And embracing your roots, because that was something that I used to run away from or kind of embarrassed by, but also remembering your ancestors, because that was a big thing for me, my grandmother. and then consciously creating who you want to be, and aligning that. So every time your outer like circumstances are challenging you, and you kind of overcome yourself, that's building confidence. Because I don't believe that we're given confidence. It's not something that we're brought up with. I believe that every time you go through something hard and you kind of rise up from it, it builds. And confidence is definitely a blend, and it's definitely a cultivated quality for me. And I just think that when we do hard things and we overcome ourselves and do things that we didn't think that we could do, we rise.
Well stated, and I agree with you 1,000%. And I guess confidence, you're likening it to a muscle.
Right.
It's something. Yeah, it's something that you work out. It's something that muscle memory, and you remember. Your body remembers, your mind remembers, your spirit remembers. And I have to tell you, lately it's been a lot of challenges, but I remember other times that I've had, obstacles as well. And so you get back into that zone. What do you want people to take away from Confidence Unleashed when they pick up your book?
So yeah, I kind of really struggled when I was in school, and I was dyslexic. So I kind of got bullied for that. And I think that kids are in middle school. I don't know how any of us survived it really, but kids can be really cruel, and especially girls during that age when we're going through adolescence and puberty. And like, you kind of doubt yourself, and being able to, when boys come along and hold your standard for yourself, like what you want for your life or what you want for your body as
Mm,
well, and not kind of abandoning what's important to you for the sake of other people's love or other people's approval. And especially girls at that age. And I think that we're so, with Instagram and like Snap and all these things, we're so easily swayed to think that that's reality. And I have a 15-year-old daughter, so if for me, I would want her to be able to be strong enough to say, I don't want to do that. That doesn't make me feel comfortable. This is my body. Or not to abandon what's important for her, and understand that exercise really is a gateway. It's a gateway drug. If you can understand that at a young age, like 15, when you're 40, and you don't think about things like this when you're 50, but I'm 47, and I want to be able to, I do believe that, unfortunately, the only way we learn is through experience. Like, someone can tell you the oven's not hot, but you've got to get burnt to realize that. And yes, I could write a book and say, this is my experience. Hopefully you can learn from it. But really, truly, life experience is what teaches us. But hopefully, if my daughter could read it and think, wow, I'm going to exercise because it's a gateway drug. It teaches me to have faith and see that results aren't immediate, that I know that by showing up, I'm going to have faith. And that if I keep showing up consistently, whether that be for a year, they will come. And it's also a dopamine and an endorphin releaser, serotonin. I mean, it's got so many benefits. It also teaches you delayed gratification, to have faith. It's really beyond the physiological aspects of what fitness is. It's really a gift from God for our immunity, and a blessing. Like, I could go on about all the benefits of exercise, but
yeah.
movement, it doesn't have to be exercise. We get in a thing in our head. I need to do 45 minutes. It has to look this way. And simply, it could just be putting music on and dancing on repeat to your favorite song, and just moving that energy out of your body.
Yeah, it's so true. And, I think too, with the consistency and the showing up for yourself, you really are making an investment in your future. And I love that you're hitting those points, because as an adult doing multiple businesses and dealing with different time zones and lots of stress and
Mm-hmm.
school, now my MBA, it's like, wow, I'm really glad I have that mental fortitude that got me over actual hurdles for now the mental and emotional hurdles that I'm going.
Right. It does. It teaches you, like, when you're doing something hard, like even if it's 10 push-ups and you're like struggling, you're like, if I can do this, whatever comes to me out there, I know I can overcome it. And you're right. It's teaching you to show up for yourself no matter what. Like your life could be pulling you in 20 directions. But if you're like, this is the one non-negotiable, and when I do this, I feel better, and then I can attack my day. Whether that's a moving meditation, whether you're just walking and having a moment for yourself in your mind and listening to music, or like working through things in your mind,
Yeah.
it is so important. And I do believe that mental health, mental health guides and professionals should be telling people to exercise 3 times a week at least, as well as giving a prescription drug if that's what they need. But combined with the movement, it will heal us. I do believe that with my whole heart. Just because it's serotonin, it's an endorphin, but it also is mentally a release that we don't allow ourselves in this day and age. But like you said, if you're being pulled, and if you write that in your schedule, it's a non-negotiable, like a meeting that you and I would have, that if you don't show up, oh dear, it's like the same with exercise.
Yeah, showing up for yourself. I love that. I think that a lot of people are going towards the mental, like the meditation and this before you start your day. And it could look like anything. Like you said, I just put my spin bike out on the porch, and I'm like, and now I'm looking at it's been a week there that it's been there, and I haven't been on it. I mean, I went on it the first day for a couple of minutes, but I'm like, Monique, you got to get on the spin bike. Now you have no excuse. Like,
Right.
you have to get in your car and go to Soul Cycle or wherever. It's right here, and you've got your playlist. So I love that you're making time for yourself. And so you know what, you're hitting on a lot of great points, and I think that what's really important about Confidence Unleashed, you guys, Lainey here has some really great titles. These titles really grab your attention, I've got to say. Even with you putting some of your exercise in chapter 10, you're putting some of your workout examples from muscle groups, and and some people spot train, and some people just do, cardio, but you're breaking down some things that people can do. But your titles are really, 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 they stand out to me. And I think this post-endemic phase, I did 3 films on the pandemic from an entrepreneur standpoint and survivor standpoint around the world. And I found that there were a lot of people stuck in relationships that were less savory for them, or less healthy. They weren't as good for, and a lot of women, men too, and children, but a lot of women got stuck in a place where they couldn't really move because of finances and COVID. I think that your book could help people who are recovering from that.
Right. I do believe the book speaks to not just, a health aspect, but also like a heart aspect, like you said, whether you're from the outside, me looking at you like, wow, you have your own TV show. Wow, you're this badass. You've got all these businesses, or people looking at me like, oh, you're this, you're that.
Yeah.
We still have those moments of doubt and fear when we level up to the next level. And I think like learning to have that voice that makes you question, I'm not good enough. Am I good enough? Am I pretty enough? Am I smart enough? Am I eloquent enough? Am I something enough? And that's, I found just from training thousands of women, that it is a very, very common theme that we talk to ourselves in a way that is not healthy. And that the key is like switching, like cleaning a dirty room. You got to switch the lights on first and see, okay, the shirts are over here, the pants are over here. I got to separate them so I can start. It's the same with our thoughts, right? Like if you're talking bad to yourself, you don't even realize it. You have to become aware first, switch the lights on in your brain. And then once you see how you're speaking to yourself, you can start to change them and make different choices. And it's like the brain with the neurotransmitters in our brain, like you said earlier, training your bicep, it's the same with training our mind. We really have that choice where we can make different choices in our mind, but we have to realize how we're speaking to ourselves. And just seeing how women would speak to themselves when I was training them was heartbreaking. Like what they talk to about their body, how they speak to their bodies. And our bodies are cells. It's like it holds your memories, it holds how you're speaking to yourself. So just learning to be so grateful in the morning to your body, like grateful that you're breathing air that you don't actually breathe, you're being breathed. And we forget this because we wake up and we're like, gotta go, go, go. And it's like, wait a minute, I have one more day to be better, one more day to try to do something different. And we don't give ourselves that moment of gratitude for our bodies. We're just like, oh, I'm fat. I don't like this. I don't like my belly. I don't like my butt. I don't like this arm hanging skin, or,
Yeah.
and it's like, wow, you have an arm. And I know that sounds that basic, but sometimes we forget that it's that basic, and I have seen people that have been athletes all their lives, and they are, about to go into the Marines, and something tragic happens. They jump into a pool and they like land bad, or they go hunting, they land bad, and they're like paralyzed. And imagine being an athlete all your life and then losing the ability to have your body. And that takes a strong mind, which is why fitness is not just physical. It is a mind, body, spirit contraction. Because even if you can deadlift 500 pounds, your mind isn't right. It's not health, because you can make yourself sick by the way you talk to yourself. And just even being an elite athlete, most of it the time, elite athletes competing against each other, there's a hair of difference. What separates people is their mental game, and really how we speak to ourselves, how we can get over things that happen, like a mishap. Oh, I dropped my shoe, or I dropped the baton, or I did this and that cost me time. How can I recover? And it's the same with life. Like, we make a mistake, how quickly can we recover? How quickly can we get back on track and be kind to ourselves? Be like, okay, let's go. What can I learn from that? Let's move forward. Because everything really is a lesson. And if we can learn to speak to ourselves in this way, it's much more empowering, and you'll get further that way.
Yes, you're covering some key points there, and you're really just leaning into, I think the part that people don't say out loud to themselves. They might say it at the hairstylist, they might say it with their trainer, they might say it at the doctor's office or with a good girlfriend or guy friend.
Mm-hmm.
But you're really saying the quiet part out loud, and that is the negative self-talk that we don't realize, the subconscious talk that we have that's been in there for years. It's been in there in your childhood. It's been in there, it's for so long. And really, to your point, I had to recently go, okay, you did just accomplish all these other things, and you're still here. So everything that you've done, you're still here, and you're in one piece, and you're all right. And it's me recalling how I did that, and what I had to really get laser focused in my mental. And I had to block everything out. I said, guys, I'm not available this week. I'm not answering. And I just focused, and it was really something to see the universe show up and people around you to show up. But when you guide your mind, they say energy flows where attention goes. But even with running track, my coach used to say, run the race in your head the night before. I was 17. I didn't know what he was talking about. I thought it was kooky. And
no, it's true.
Yeah. So
I mean, they have done studies on Olympic athletes that have, or even soccer players that visualize themselves scoring the goal, and they do the brain waves when they're doing it, and they see that their whole brain lights up, and it's a path that's already traveled for them. So when they're actually in the game, they've already been there in their minds. So they kind of have that sixth sense to know what to do. And it's also very, very powerful to do that visualization. But like, to speak to what you were saying about reminding yourself, it's true, because sometimes you have to remind yourself who you are, where you've come from, what your ancestors want you to remember, what your parents went through for you to get here, or what you went through to get where you are. And just reminding yourself that you are strong, you are resilient, and that you are powerful, and that you are helping people or touching people, and to stay on your path. And it's very easy to forget that, because we can get wound up in that insecurity, which can be crippling. The doubt sometimes can be very crippling, even to people who are very successful. And it's understanding that self-awareness is actually your guide.
Yes. And okay, so let's say, okay, so give it, like, let's say in Q, because now it's March 31st. I can't even believe it. Happy holidays to everybody that celebrates Ramadan and Easter and everything else.
Right.
But we're going into Q2 now of 2024. So if you had three clients that you've never, like, let's say they have a different type of lifestyle that you haven't tapped into as a coach and as an author and a trainer and all the beautiful things you do. In Q2, all right, listeners, now listen up. Lainey's going to identify who she might want. In Q2 of 2024, Lainey, what clientele, what would it look like on your spreadsheet? Who would you like to train? Who would you like to walk through Confidence Unleashed? Who would you like to mentor with your guide here?
Wow, this is a good challenging question.
I like those.
Right? It's funny because I've had very powerful business women, and
Sure.
I've had ballerinas, and I've also had like special force guys. So it's like, oh, who, and I've had like women who've lost over 100 pounds. So it's like,
Oh, wow.
who else would I like to touch? But I also think that every client that I've ever had has also taught me something. So it's always been an exchange, and it's also holding that space for them to step into having. Sometimes you don't have the belief for yourself, like you're that down and out. Even if you're successful, you just don't believe in yourself. And having a coach to hold space for you until you catch up and can see your potential and see how amazing you are, and what your body can achieve, or what your mind can achieve before you can see it for yourself, is a beautiful thing. And I've had that myself. So if anything, it would be people that really need a hand and some space, no matter how successful they are, because I've had successful clients. And I don't believe that outside success actually means anything when you get into your heart. We all can choose that for ourselves. So my ideal client would be somebody that wants results, is ready for results, because it's very easy to say, I want a trainer, I can buy a therapist, I can buy all of this stuff. But if you're not willing to actually do the work, or you're not really clear in what you want, it's really hard to work with that person and hold space continually for them. I would love to work with people that are super clear and want results. But I also would love working with people to hold the space for them and remind them that they can choose whatever they want for themselves. So really, it's not a specific clientele that looks. I did get the opportunity to work with a company that we were shooting exercise videos for. But I do love that. I love talking about form and engaging your core and being in the muscle that you're actually using. So maybe my Q2 would look like working on a show, maybe like something like The Biggest Loser, and reminding people who they are.
Let's put it out there.
Right? Speak it.
It's funny because now a lot of people don't know this about me, but well, if you look up my bio, I helped I helped build the reality genre. So I was a reality casting producer since 2000.
Oh, cool.
And The Biggest Loser, it was called, I think the first one we did, I found the winner.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight. His name fails me, which is so bad. I guess that's what 46 is like. I got to get my ginkgo. But I remember I faxed over the flyer to her, because back then we had a fax machine. So I faxed over
and beepers.
That was so long ago. But I said, I need to go reach out to fitness, studios, because I used to work at 24-Hour Fitness. So I faxed a flyer to 24-Hour Fitness, and we got him from there. So the first Biggest Loser winner and Biggest Loser, I believe it was The Biggest Loser or the show just like it. Anyway, I found him. But I remember, that feeling for him and seeing that. I love what you're saying. I think going back to your other point about leveling up, I remember that it gets really lonely and really challenging and really scary, and it's testing you to the point where, like, I would literally just be sitting at the computer. I'm like, oh, I didn't shower today. That's not good. Or I need to eat something other than like coffee and maybe a boiled egg. That's why my brain's not. But when you're leveling up, it literally does not matter. You do not care. All you care is getting the result, and you're holding yourself together in stitches, and you're going. And I want all the entrepreneurs to listen to this and really listen to this good. It's funny because it's painful, it hurts, it's scary, and you question everything. But you have to remember, you've explored everything to the date. You're still here to date. and maybe you've lost some things, maybe some things didn't go the way you wanted or as fast, and you didn't get the support, but you're still here. Keep leveling up, because it really does get really tough when you're going up. And
Right. And then
it's
it's
hard.
so,
It's
what
so
is so true what you're saying, even from like, you can reply, you can put this in athletic terms, like new level, new devil. Like when you go to you're no longer the big fish in the pond, and you go up a level and everyone's better than you, and you're like, oh man. Or just like you're running a marathon, and everybody seems to, I've seen, like, just working in the industry for so long, fitness industry, I apply this to life. Just when you're at the finish line, you're 1 minute away, people seem to quit, and you're like, you're right there, the breakthrough is right there. But you always have to remember that that's kind of a universal law. Like, it's going to test you. That last step is the hardest, and honestly, it's like, don't quit because you feel like, I'm done. But that last step, or that last 0.1 mile, is the most challenging, because you're the most tired. You're like, your form is gone, you're like, your mind is gone, but you're like, I'm still in. And then when you cross that threshold, you're like, whew, and then you get to climb again, and it's just like this continual, like, pushing of your threshold.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's a really great way to, because I was looking at it from a track point of view. So let me ask you this, because your book does talk about, using some things in the past to really move forward. And I also wanted to highlight a part for entrepreneurs, athletes, and just everybody, everyday people. I'm finding it in my experience, but then and also with others, we often ask the question, Lainey, what am I getting strong for? Because if this is the prep, I don't want to know what the event's going to be. I mean, if you've just been through everything and you're like, holy cow, what in the hell what am I getting strong for? And I don't want to be that strong. You have a little pushback. What has been your experience with that, with that observation in the past?
Right. So I feel like, honestly, we don't realize, but people are like, what are you training for? Well, my life. Like, what do you mean your life? Like, I've stopped training for competitions, or like, I'll do friendly things, but just in general, like, I've had clients that were in the World Trade Center, and they'd come to me and they were like, I want to get strong in my upper body. Like, I want to do a pull up. Say that was a woman's goal. Like, I want to do a pull up. And I had a woman, it was in the World Trade Center, and she pulled herself out of an elevator and ran out like 100 steps. And she'd been training with me. And she said, all I remember, Lainey, is your voice saying, you can do hard things. So here's the thing, like, imagine being in an event in your life that you've trained for. Like, nothing can beat like life or death, right? Like, we all be like, okay, I've been there. But when you're actually in it, trusting yourself and knowing that you can do it. Like, I've had so many instances of where another woman was in a car accident, and she literally had to push the car off to get out of the car. And she said, it's because we trained. And I used to work, I lived in New York for a long time, and I worked in a bar, and there I used to have this training partner, and she was this badass little, not even a buck, like 100 pounds, and she was this
Mighty and
kickboxer.
mighty.
She was so badass. And we would finish late at night. We had all our cash tips. We had to walk across this parking lot to get out. So she got jumped by 3 guys, and she kind of got her way out, and she ran. And to be able to know that you can trust your body, to be able to know in circumstances that should anything happen, that that you can run away, that you could pull yourself out of a situation. If you can't lift yourself up, literally and physically, if you can't lift yourself up in life, who can? We've got to learn to do that for ourselves in so many ways, right? And this is why I believe, what are we getting strong for? Well, guess what? God has a plan for you, and sometimes we don't see it, but everything seems to work out in our favor. And if we can learn to tell ourselves that, even in the bad moments, like, oh, see the good in it. This happened because I needed this lesson. This happened because what did I learn from this that my experience didn't have right now, that God wanted me to have? Like, what do I need to learn from this in order to grow? And that's really like learning to have a growth mindset and be able to trust your body. Like, so many of us, we age, and as we age, one of the worst ways that people get injured is muscular imbalances and falling as we get older. So like so many of the older people like break limbs, or they can't get up when they fall, or they want to play with their grandchildren. Well, just being able to get up is something that we take for granted,
I love
literally though, and physically, like mentally. Can you pick yourself up after a hard, like when you said all those things? I've been broken, I've been dealing with this guy, and my career, all these terrible things that could have happened to us. You picked yourself up, and you know how to do it. So the next time something tragic happens, you know that you can pick yourself up. And that really is confidence for me.
I love it, you guys. Wonderful. Thank you, Lainey, to spend some time this holiday. You guys see my bookmark here, but I'm all over this thing. It's an easy read. Confidence Unleashed. Grab it while you're waiting for your flight. Grab it while you're on the subway. Grab it while you're whatever you're doing. You can get through this thing. Lainey DeSouza, where can people pick this up? And give us your social media handles quickly.
Yeah, you can pick it up at Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. You have to order it, but social media at Lainey Love, Laugh, Love. Sorry, Love. You're saying go fast. Lainey Live, Laugh, Love on Instagram, and Lainey D'Souza on Facebook.
Lainey, you're awesome. I'm going to email you and your people today for that fitness event in New York. I am so grateful to know you. Let's do more time together.
Yes, it was awesome talking to you.
You too. Happy holiday.
Yes, ma'am. Have a good day.
You too, dear. All right, you guys. Next up, we have Joe C. Lopez. Joe, happy holiday. Happy Easter if you celebrate. Welcome to the startup. Okay. Hit your button there, Joe, so we can hear you.
Yeah, happy Easter. Rainy day here in San Diego. Happy Easter to everybody.
You too, Joe. It is a rainy day in San Diego. I'm in Laguna Beach, and it is coming down. Yep. Surf's up. All right, let's go full screen. Joe, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you got going on?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Joe Lopez. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I own a company called Wildfire Outdoor Living. That company's been in business since 2020. It was a joint venture I did with a much larger enterprise than myself outside of in Arizona. We make the best of the backyard. We wanted to launch a product in a tough time during COVID where folks were trying to get outside more and spend more time at home in their resort style sort of backyards. So what we did was we came up with a new spin on outdoor kitchens and barbecues and griddles and refrigerators and basically everything that you could possibly want to have in your backyard and have a good time without having to get on an airplane and go to Mexico like I just came back from.
I love that. So, okay, great, because I love the outdoors when it's cozy, when there's a nice fire going, and of course there's a barbecue going. Tell us a little bit about your journey through COVID and finding this niche, your other venture.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So my background, just to kind of give you some context for that quickly, is I was a food and technology venture capitalist in Silicon Valley. I worked, doing startups there, looking at the latest things for food, the food chain, disrupting food. That was been my passion for the last decade. And so I've been hyper focused on launching new products and helping founders get their funding to do that. Then in 2020, during COVID, some friends of mine in Arizona that are a family-run company approached me to start this new venture. And we just thought, wow, what a great time to be in the space of outdoors when everyone's wanting to, right? And so our journey there was, well, okay, that sounds great, but oh, by the way, now we need to build the product, and it's COVID. We can't travel anywhere.
Yeah.
So
we need supplies and we need the trains.
Yeah, and I'm used to traveling. That's right. That's the tough part. I'm used to traveling overseas, domestically, to get things built through contract-based manufacturing, but that was not possible during COVID. So we sort of rewrote the rules on that, like a lot of folks, and we built and designed this without ever visiting the factory. And it was a lot of nights, staying up late at night. My Chinese got sharp again, so that was I use my Spanish as well. So it was truly a global endeavor, and we pulled it all together.
Global.
Yes,
Sorry
global
to cut
Earth.
you off. There's a little delay. Yeah, there's a global effort, and it sounded like your circadian rhythm was knocked off as bad as mine. But wow,
Yes.
how exciting! Because you can always look back and see that you built this in almost impossible time in history. So now you're in San Diego, but you're worldwide. Where who's your clientele today? We're post-endemic. What styles do you have, and who's your network? Who are we
Yeah,
looking for?
that's great. Thank you for asking. Yeah, so Wildfire is born out of the idea that the backyard is a place for everyone to go that can enjoy time with their friends and family over an open flame, like a barbecue, an ice chest with refreshing beverages, a griddle, all the tools and tips that you would need to really enjoy the time and be the hero of your family in the backyard. What our uniqueness is that we wanted to target younger homeowners, millennials, and people that are very interested in design, mid-century modern, and wanted a more clean, elegant look to their outdoors in their backyard. So we even updated the traditional barbecue grill to have a black stainless steel finish on it to get more modern with elegant landscape colored lighting. And so design was a huge deal for us. We design, and then also the product itself is just fun. We over featured it with things that at our price point, it should be like a Porsche level. We're delivering like an Audi for the cost of a Porsche, if that gives you any idea. So
The outdoor Audi. The outdoor Audi. We can plug our iPhone in and Android, and we are good. No, just kidding. Well, this is great. So,
yeah.
it sounds like, and you're right on time, by the way. Yes, we have the showers going on here in Southern California, but in a moment, you're going to be in prime season. Where can people find you? Are you on back order? Are you kind of pulling an Hermes and doing a waiting list? What is your price point, and who can buy?
Sure. Our products range. So our products are targeted towards, folks who want to spend somewhere roughly between $3,000 and $5,000 on built-in products into outdoor kitchens. We do have cart grills and cart products, but really it's for the full backyard experience. And you can find us online at our website, www.wildfireoutdoorliving.com. We do sell through retail, specialized stores that sell appliances, food, wine, cooking equipment. That's my spot. That's what I like to be. I like to be talking to chefs. So we're in those kinds of stores, everything from pizza schools to appliance stores to barbecue stores. You can find us, and that's all located on our website as well.
That's so smart. I'm getting visuals now. I'm like, oh my God, Summer House needs to call you from Bravo, or you need to call them. I mean, I could see, your product there, and but this sounds great. So, what are the special features that maybe you have that maybe another product might not have?
Yeah, for sure. So what we did was I just took a look at this, and I've been in this category in and out of it, like with the food technology for years. So I wanted to deliver something for folks that wanted all the features and benefits of a luxury kind of product, like let's call it a $10,000 outdoor kind of equipment, but deliver it at around 3,000. So we put heavy duty grates. It's got a full lifetime warranty, not one of these lifetime warranties people keep telling me about that aren't lifetime. We are truly a lifetime warranty from soup to nuts, knob to griddle, you name it. And then we also focus in on our plancha griddles. Right now, that's a massive trend in the US and Canada, is to be able to cook on your flat, griddle outside.
Yeah.
It enables you to cook breakfast, seafood. There's nothing better than a steak cooked in its own fat. Let's be honest.
Yes, I remember those days when I was eating steak. It does taste good.
Yeah, I'm with you. Whoops, I'm with you. I'm more of I'm a pescatarian, but I love to cook outside, and my wife is a chef. So
Oh,
we're constantly, trying to move the needle on what we can do on a plancha outside. But it's really taken off, and we're the world's first 15-inch griddle that can be built in outside, easy to clean, dishwasher safe, grease trays, and it's a great deal. It's just under $1,000.
wow. Okay, great. So you gave a couple price points. Guys, this is a great investment for your outdoor fun this spring. And yes, it's raining, but happy spring coming up. Thank you for sharing part of your holiday with us, Joe. And I'm excited to see where you go with this. And you're a serial entrepreneur, so you might be back on the show with something else soon.
There you go. Thank you.
All right, beautiful. And give us your handle one more time on social media.
Yep. So our company, my company is called Wildfire Outdoor Living, and the website's wildfireoutdoorliving.com. I'm also very active on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a place where you can find me talking about food technology startups. It's www.linkedin.com/in/J Lopez III.
Wonderful. Jay, we'll be in touch. I got some things to connect you with. I'm excited.
Great.
And I
Thank
need that
you.
griddle.
You
All
got
right.
it.
Talk to you soon. All right. Okay, you guys, next up we have Barry. Barry Collier. Welcome to the startup. How are you?
I'm doing well, and thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for sharing your holiday. If you celebrate with us, Easter or
Yeah.
Ramadan,
Happy
or what
Easter.
do you? Yes,
You
happy
look
Easter.
very bundled up. Where are you?
So bundled up. You know, us Southern California people can't deal with rain. We dress for snow when there's raining. So I'm in Laguna Beach and try not to float away.
Okay.
Where are you coming to us from today?
I'm also from LA, but I'm in a phone booth at a WeWork right now.
Barry froze up there.
Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, say it again, Barry. You froze up.
I'm at a WeWork in Los Angeles. So I'm over in Woodland Hills.
We're gonna have Barry reconnect.
Okay, let me try to connect to her.
Barry, go ahead and reconnect and come back. And while Barry does that, Sam, log him out. Yeah. While he does that, I want to just say a special thanks again to all of our supporters and listeners. And the Pandemic Project documentary and everything else is coming back. We'll give you the streaming information soon. And I'm getting a note here that Barry will be back very soon. And yeah, how's everybody doing with their startups? I really like Zen Business. If you guys are doing LegalZoom, Zen Business is also great for startups. Barry's back.
Did it work?
Okay, perfect. Let's do it again. Barry, where are you coming to us from today?
I'm in LA, but I'm at a WeWork. So it's the Wi-Fi may be a little bit spotty.
That's all right. It still works. All right, let's go full screen. Barry, go ahead and plug who you are and what you got going on.
Sure. So I am a serial entrepreneur. I've been building startups since the late 90s. Started with building an agency in my early 20s, helping build websites for the entertainment industry, agencies, musicians, independent films, things like that. Was doing that until the dot-com bubble burst in 2000. Decided that having a bunch of bad debt and clients that went under that weren't able to pay was not a fun experience. So I decided to jump onto a startup at that time, which was Neopets. It had just sort of launched, and I jumped in as their lead engineer and helped build their sort of platform until I left about 2 years later. I learned a lot from that experience, being able to scale a game of that size. Basically built it up to about 30 million players by the time I left in 2002. Since then, I've been basically building and scaling startups in the advertising e-commerce space. Started a affiliate network in 2003. I was the CTO, so I built out the platform side of that. Scaled it to about 100 million in revenue. Sold it to AdKnowledge in 2010, and started a venture studio in 2012 with my current partners that I've been building businesses with for over 20 years now. Out of that venture studio, one of the businesses that came out of that was drinks.com, which we've been building since 2013. That has gone through the full evolution of what a business can be. It started bootstrapped, and we've raised all the way through a Series B. It's been going just a little over 10 years now, and it's changed from a D2C business, which is how we built it initially, basically buying and aggregating online wine businesses, and then we built out a platform to support that, and then we've now sold that part of the business off last year, and now we're just focused purely on the reg tech, the regulatory piece of enabling beverage alcohol brands, wine, distilled spirits, craft beers, things like that, to be able to sell direct to consumer online versus just being forced to sell through a distributor and go the normal retail route.
Wow. Listen,
Yeah.
you're the holy grail of wow.
I've been busy.
I was having an entrepreneurial episode. I want to stay appropriate here.
I'll read between the lines there.
Right. And, but we curse on the show. We're irreverent here. But, I don't want to get a call from your agent. But listen, okay, so love all of it, because you spoke to me, with the entertainment thing, and I totally get you about the unpaid invoices. And then you talked to me about the wine thing, and that's so, all right. So you've been able to really get in there, and it sounds like get all the weeds, clear it out, and really get hyper focused and monetize these brands. And I love that. I want to know, and I asked this of my other guests in a different way. So I'll ask you this, Barry. In Q2 of 2024, what is your dream? Who is your dream client, your dream project? I know you're doing great things now, but like if you could just be in fairy tale entrepreneur land, what little piece of heaven would you love to do that wouldn't be a pain in your ass?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I've been, have sort of had this sense of urgency of helping others. I spent my entire career building, but I have, for the most part, sort of flown under the radar and not really been building in the arena, but on the sidelines when it comes to helping others. And that's where my real focus is. So I've been doing a lot more mentorship, advising. I do a lot of angel investing. I've invested in over 30 startups, and I advise and mentor a bunch of founders as well. I'm getting much more intentional with that side of things and trying to make sure and trying to give back to the ecosystem, the entrepreneurs. I'm a huge believer in entrepreneurship and startups, and just that I get the energy from that. I get energy from being around builders.
Yes, I love that. So now you're going to get flooded. You're going to get flooded in with.
Bring it on.
We'll see. Bring it on. So, okay, I would love to highlight anything else that I might have missed. What do you want to share with us that you're kind of itching to share about drinks.com? I mean, it sounds like you're taking it from bootstrap to dividends.
Yeah, so again, it's gone through that evolution, and starting from a D2C business, we built out a platform to support that D2C business, sort of learning what it takes to do it. And then once we realized that there were other brands that wanted to be able to do the same. We just a year and a half, 2 years ago, I think, we launched a partnership with Shopify, where we power the ability for them to be able to, for brands to be able to sell direct to consumer on, setting up a Shopify store, installing our compliance app and things like that. It will be a fun year. We just sold off the D2C business, so it's really heads down and focused on just enabling and supporting other beverage alcohol businesses to be able to reach their consumer and maintain and build those relationships that they get to have direct to consumer.
Congratulations, because I know getting those labels approved through, what's it, FOSBA or whomever, and shout out to FOSBA, Cola. Yeah. I mean, and the fact that you're disrupting, but they have to know. They have to know it's coming. And same with cannabis. I'm sure that's where you'll go next if you haven't gone there already. I mean, I've had entrepreneurs do, cannabis infused skincare, which I only wear. And, their PayPal or Venmo had been suspended because of, and it's like just these little intricacies of just fixing these little things. They're legitimate, hardworking people. They want to pay taxes, So
I think I look at it as complementary to the industry, and initially it may have looked like it was more of a disruption or maybe a disintermediation of a part of the industry, but really it's adding a new channel. It's complementary. People are still going to go to the restaurants and bars and grocery stores. It's not changing that. It's just it's opening up a new channel. I think
they really are. Very eloquently put. You're the guy to fill out the forms, that's for sure. No, just kidding. Mary, tell us, if we have just a little less than a minute, do you mind just sharing a little bit about your background? I'm always interested about entrepreneurs. I have an interesting upbringing, and it makes me who I am today, but I would love to hear about you.
I love that. So I get this question, how did I become an entrepreneur? I had to think about it for a while. Like, where did it come from? But I didn't realize until much later in my life that I actually was around it my entire life. My grandfather, I grew up very poor, poverty wise, but my grandfather was had his own bricklaying business, so a masonry business. And, I realized that, I remember he had business cards. His name was Bond Wheeler. And the business card says my word is my bond. And basically, I realized that entrepreneurship it's about building and creating value. And I learned early on that doing that with sort of this value-based approach is what's critical. It's what matters to me. So, learning that piece of integrity and just sort of being value-driven. That's sort of how it all started. I was always sort of a hacker when it came to programming and things like that at an early age. And then I just got exposed to it and just ran with it.
We're going to have you back on, Barry. I have a feeling that you're wealth of information. Thank you for sharing that. What we started today. I'm Monique Lore. That's Barry. We'll see you guys really soon. Be well and stay dry. Ciao.
You're listening to The Startup with Monique Lore, only on LA Talk Radio.